Hi, this is Josh Kulp. This is the video for Daf Shevui, Masechet Kiddushin. We are learning Daf Nun. And I thought that for today's video, I would go over a Mishnah that doesn't really get explained much in our Gemara because it's explained more in Masechet Ketubot, but it's worth talking about some of the assumptions and what we can learn about the difference between Kiddushin and the Ketubah from this Mishnah. So this is the Mishnah that appears in the end of the end of the first side of the page, where Hamekedesh Isha, someone who betroths a woman, Almanat she'ein aleha nedarim, on condition that she doesn't have any oaths on her. So I want to talk a little bit about oaths, or actually vows. There may be vows that a woman would take that would restrict her behavior, and her husband wants to know before he marries her that she's not going to have any restrictions on her behavior that might make their marriage either uncomfortable or something difficult or in some other way problematic. For instance, she may have a vow not to eat meat, and maybe he would like to eat meat in their household. Maybe she has a vow not to visit such and such a place. We know that people made such vows in the ancient world, and the Mishnah is basically saying, look, if he specifically says to her, and we can imagine, I think, a husband saying something this to the wife, says, look, I want to marry you. Again, they probably didn't know each other all that well, but I want to know that you don't have any restrictions on you. Today, you might say, like, look, I'm a vegetarian, and I don't want to marry a meat eater. So I would say, behold, you are betrothed to me on condition that you don't eat meat, or you haven't made a vow that you would eat meat, or maybe vice versa. These are the kinds of things that we can kind of see being played out in negotiation at the point of betrothal. And if it turns out that she's lying to him, then that's false Kiddushin. She has deceived him. She was betrothed under false premises, and therefore she's Eina Mikudeshet. Now, the second clause, Knasas Stam, if he betroths her without saying anything, V'nitzu'u aleh nidarim, and it turns out that she has vows, Teitzei shelo b'ketubah, he can divorce her without paying her ketubah. The idea being over here that restrictive vows, it's a responsibility to tell your partner beforehand when you get married that you have certain restriction vows that are going to restrict your life. If she has a vow not to go to, Jerusalem, and his family lives in Jerusalem, well, she should have said, I have a vow not to go to Jerusalem, and once we get married, I'm not going to be able to go to Jerusalem. She has a vow, not to have marital relations on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, for instance, although we get into marital relations somewhere else. She has a responsibility to tell him that vow because it's disruptive to the wedding. However, he didn't specify before. He didn't make the Kiddushin dependent on anything, and therefore the Kiddushin is valid because when he did Kiddushin with her, he didn't say anything. However, she should have told him, therefore she's at fault, and she will lose her ketubah should he decide to divorce her. He doesn't have to divorce her, but if he decides to divorce her, he can divorce her and divorce her without paying the ketubah. Remember, a husband always has a right to divorce his wife according to rabbinic law, not according to post-rabbinic law, where husbands cannot divorce without their wife's consent, at least according to Ashkenazi law. But according to pure Talmudic law, a husband can always divorce his wife. But if he does, he has to pay the ketubah. The same thing is in the second clause about mumim, about flaws. The same thing, if he makes the Kiddushin, the betrothal dependent on her not having certain physical flaws, then she's not betrothed. But if she has certain disruptive physical flaws, she has a responsibility to let him know. Again, it'll be like something today. If you have a disease, for instance, especially a communicable disease, it's the right thing to do to tell your partner before you get married, right? There are certain information that partners should be sharing with each other. We hope, at least in today's age, that we'll be able to live with each other even if we have certain diseases, but it's better to get all that information up front. I hope this was a good explanation for the Mishnah. As always, I hope you find the material interesting and that you participate in our discussion group on the Facebook discussion page.